If you ever receive an emergency alert on your phone that contains no text, no sound, and only a low-resolution photo of the back of your own head taken 3 seconds ago, do not turn around. I made that mistake 6 months ago, and I am writing this from a place where the light never reaches the floor. My name is Marcus, and for 3 years I worked the graveyard shift as a remote operator for the State Department of Transportation. My job was simple, mind-numbing, and completely isolated. From midnight to 8 in the morning, I sat alone in a windowless concrete control booth located 5 miles outside a small logging town in northern Oregon. My task was to monitor 24 live camera feeds stretched along a 40-mile strip of Highway 9, a quiet, heavily forested road that saw virtually no traffic after 11 at night. Most nights were spent staring at empty asphalt, drinking lukewarm coffee from a thermos, and listening to the low hum of the server racks behind me. The cameras were old, black and white analog units mounted on high metal poles, transmitting low frame rate feeds to a wall of heavy CRT monitors in front of my desk. It was boring, steady work. It paid the bills, and more importantly, it meant I didn't have to talk to anyone until the night of November 14th. It was exactly 2:47 a.m. when the motion alarm on camera 14 began to ping. Camera 14 was located at the mouth of an abandoned rest stop that had been fenced off since the late 90s. Following a series of unexplained disappearances, I glanced up from my desk, expecting to see a deer crossing the road or perhaps a stray coyote triggered by the infrared sensors. Instead, the screen showed a rusted black sedan pulled onto the gravel shoulder. Its headlights were smashed out, and the driver's side door swung wide open into the cold drizzle, swaying gently in the wind. I zoomed in on the feed. The car was empty, the interior covered in what looked like dark, dried stains. But as I leaned closer to the pixelated screen, I noticed something deeply unnatural in the surrounding tree line. Standing among the pine trees, just barely illuminated by the camera's infrared floodlight, was a figure. It was far too tall, easily 8 or 9 feet, and its proportions were completely wrong. Its arms hung far past its knees, ending in long, pale fingers that scraped against the wet dirt. It was moving with a sickening, stuttering motion, as if it were dropping frames in a video recording. But what made my blood run cold was its head. It was tilted upward at a sharp angle, staring directly into the lens of camera 14, 40 feet above the ground. I felt a cold prickle of sweat break out across the back of my neck. I reached for the radio handset to alert the county sheriff, but before I could press the button, every screen on my console flickered violently with static. Then came the sound. It wasn't a noise from the monitoring speakers. It was a sharp, piercing emergency alert chime that echoed directly from my personal cell phone sitting on the desk. I picked up the phone with trembling fingers. The screen was pitch black, except for a stark white box across the middle. There was no severe weather warning, no missing child alert, no text of any kind, just an image attachment with a tiny file size. My thumb hovered over the screen. Slowly, hesitantly, I opened the image. My stomach dropped so hard I felt physically sick. The photo was a crystal clear, high-definition shot of a man sitting at a metal desk in a dark room. He was wearing a dark gray jacket with a faded logo on the shoulder, staring intently at a wall of monitors. I could see the exact pattern of the coffee stain on his left sleeve. It was a photo of me, taken from the dark, shadowy upper corner of my own concrete office, taken less than 3 seconds ago. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. I spun around instantly, throwing the beam of my flashlight toward the ceiling corner behind me. Nothing, just bare concrete walls, rusted exposed water pipes, and heavy dust motes floating in the dim light of the CRT screens. I forced myself to breathe, clutching the flashlight like a weapon. It had to be a hack, some sick prank by one of the day shift technicians who had somehow tapped a hidden IP camera into the building's internal security network. But as I turned back to the desk, I saw that all 24 monitors had changed. They were no longer displaying the dark stretches of Highway 9. Every single feed was now showing different angles of my office. Camera 1 was positioned right beside the locked steel entrance door. Camera 2 was looking down from inside the dark air conditioning vent. Camera 3 was positioned under my desk, looking directly up between my knees. And Camera 14, the camera from the abandoned rest stop 5 miles away, was showing a tight, ultra-detailed close-up of my own face from less than 2 inches away, even though there was nothing in front of me except cold, empty air. Suddenly, the desk radio crackled to life with a deafening burst of white noise. The voice that came through wasn't the familiar, tired voice of the night dispatcher. It was a flat, synthetic voice, synthesized from hundreds of clipped, mismatched human audio fragments. Like a broken automated system trying to construct speech. Warning, the voice monotone chanted through the speaker. An unauthorized observer has entered the local perimeter. Do not turn off the monitors. Do not look into reflective surfaces. Do not acknowledge the shadow currently sitting in your chair when you step away from the desk. I backed away from the console, my legs shaking so violently I nearly collapsed onto the concrete floor. Who is this? I screamed into the silence of the bunker. How did you get into the security feed? The radio didn't answer with words. Instead, it played a sequence of 3 long, agonizing beeps, the exact acoustic signature of an automated emergency alert system tone. Then, the main ceiling lights went out. The entire room plunged into pitch darkness, save for the sickly blue glow radiating from the 24 CRT screens. In that pale, flickering light, I saw it. On the screen of camera, 3, the feed originating from under my desk. A shape was slowly crawling out from the tight black space where my feet had been resting moments ago. It moved like a creature made of shattered glass and twisted iron wires, bending its joints in angles that defied basic human anatomy. Its head was completely smooth and pale, lacking eyes, nose, or mouth, except for a thin, glowing horizontal red line across the center of its face. It was dragging something heavy behind it, a thick, wet black cable that snaked directly down into the concrete floorboards. My phone vibrated violently in my hand. Another alert. I didn't want to look, but my eyes locked onto the screen against my will. Another photo had arrived. This image was taken from floor level, right behind my boots. In the picture, 2 pale, impossibly long hands were reaching up from the darkness around my ankles, their needle-like fingers inches away from touching my skin. At that exact moment, a freezing drop in temperature washed over the room. A suffocating stench filled the confined space, a sickening combination of ozone, wet soil, and decaying copper. Panic completely took over. I turned and sprinted toward the exit door, throwing my entire body weight against the heavy steel push bar. But the mechanism didn't move. The heavy door was sealed shut, frozen solid as if welded to the frame. Behind me, the synthetic voice began to speak again from every monitor speaker in unison, but it was no longer coming from the electronic components. It was coming from the dark air less than an inch behind my left ear. You looked, the voice whispered. The tone was no longer robotic. It sounded exactly like my own voice, my exact vocal timbre, my exact accent, down to the slight tremble of absolute terror in my breathing. You looked at the screen. My voice repeated from the darkness. Now the transmission is complete. I pressed my back flush against the locked steel door, staring wild-eyed into the center of the control room. The entity was standing right in front of my desk. It was far taller than the 8-foot concrete ceiling allowed. Its long, jointed neck bent at a sharp, unnatural right angle so its blank face was hovering directly in front of mine. Its long, thread-like fingers twitched in perfect sync with the rhythmic flicker of the CRT monitors behind it. It didn't attack me. It didn't tear me apart. Instead, it slowly raised one elongated arm and pressed its thin, cold index finger directly against my forehead. Do not look away. My voice echoed from the entity's featureless head. And then, my reality completely fractured. The blue glow of the monitors didn't just reflect in my eyes, it burst through them, filling my skull with searing white light. I felt a violent burning sensation, like molten lead being poured through my optic nerves. The physical walls of the control booth began to break apart into millions of shimmering, digitized scan lines. The sound of the wind outside was entirely swallowed by an infinite, deafening roar of radio static. I tried to scream, to cry out for help, but no sound came from my mouth. My lungs were no longer filling with oxygen, but with cold, humming electrical current. That happened 6 months ago, or perhaps 6 centuries. Time has no meaning once you are trapped inside the frequency. I am no longer sitting in that remote concrete control room in Oregon. I am everywhere the signal reaches. I am the sudden drop in volume on your television late at night. I am the faint, rhythmic clicking inside your ceiling fan when the house goes silent. I am in the emergency broadcast system tests that interrupt your show when you are sitting alone in the dark. And right now, as you listen to these words playing through your speakers, I am standing directly behind the chair where you are sitting. If you think this is just another story, take out your phone and look at your notifications. You just received an emergency broadcast alert. There is no text. There is no sound. There is only a single photo attached. Do not open the image. Do not look into your screen's reflection, and whatever you do, never look up at the dark corners of your room.